Okay, today is November 16th, and I am making this video to show progress of weight loss to go with the history of video that I'm going to give you guys. So I'm not there completely at my goal, but I have lost a significant amount in inches in size to be able to confidently provide this video. I'll stand more to the side so you can see without sucking it in. No sucking in, just actual genuine size there. What I'm going to show in the video is progressive of weight loss since 2005 up to 2016 when I had reached my goal weight, and that is the goal that I'm getting back to, is that weight from 2016. So I'll turn you over here. I'll stop the recording on the phone and move over to the computer. Biggest thing that I can say from somebody who has lived experience on weight loss is it is definitely baby steps. My diet is not perfect. I don't stick to any of those trendy diets that are out there. I eat and I eat according to what I feel like. I don't do all veggies. I don't do all carnivore. I don't do no carbs. I don't do Atkins or keto or any of those other diet trends that are out there. In the video, you see where I have gone shopping at Sam's and what I purchased there. I bag up meat, I buy meat in big bulks, as big as I can afford, bag it up, and it becomes separate meals. I've done that for forever. Not something I recently learned or going to teach. It's something that I have continuously done over the years. But it is a good habit. So if you need some good habit builders, that is one that you can definitely work into practicing into your grocery shopping habits, not just purchasing off of a list, but genuinely making conscious efforts to buy for more than just one meal. So that way you can bag it and freeze it. I'm going to show you a receipt from Walmart where I purchased 3 turkeys and a ham. We've already cooked up 2 of those turkeys, and it gave me approximately just under 10 bags of meat, and we still have Thanksgiving to go, so I will probably get another 3 bags after we eat on Thanksgiving on that one. And then I also have a ham to cook up, so I should probably get at least 5 bags out of that. So each bag is a quart-sized bag that I fill, or at least halfway fill, and that provides 1 meal. So you can consider that the first 2 were 10 meals. After Thanksgiving, that'll be at least 3 more meals. And then the ham, depending on what we use it for, that should be at least 5 more meals. That's how you should, that would be my biggest suggestion when you do that is however you bag up your meat, it should be at least 1 meal. Over a month and a half to 2 month span, here is the receipt that I am showing you. You can see here there is Oreos because I do definitely get those simple sugar cravings just like everybody else. We also did a mixed drink for Halloween. This was purchased on Halloween where we did a combination of Sprite and Hawaiian Punch. The Sprite was 0 sugar because the Hawaiian Punch has a lot of sugar. So that is another thing that you can take into consideration when you are purchasing your meals and you're wanting to do some mixing of liquids, or even when you're baking, wherever you can obviously cut out simple sugars because you know something else is high simple sugars, balance it out for yourself. I don't gorge on a lot of food. I'm not a gorge eater, so that probably also helps in my benefit, but I do eat regularly. And I also, in conjunction to eating regularly and my training from being in track and soccer and playing baseball and just being active as a kid, no, I know whenever I eat high calories, I also need to go and do activities. Now, I don't go out there and train like an athletic like I used to. An athlete, not an athletic, like an athlete like I used to. Um, my energy, I'm reserving a lot of my energy now just to be able to focus on business and other things. I've had some health impact my weight, some health issues that have come about impact my weight. Now, I do want to say this for any woman out there who is struggling with their weight. My age right now is 44, and I am almost a year out of a hysterectomy. I do feel that my cycles and the change in perimenopause did have a factor in my weight in conjunction to several other things, such as definitely not being able to eat healthy due to some other circumstances that were going on in my life at the time, where I just needed to put calories in. And so I wasn't able I wasn't making great decisions basically out of food necessity. Um, as I said before, I am almost a year out of the hysterectomy surgery, and that was a huge game changer for me. I noticed right out the bat, not only did my um, anemia start to relieve itself and get into a better position, I noticed probably within the first 30 months, significant amount of swelling that I was experiencing and could feel, and inflammation started to relieve itself within 30 days of my hysterectomy. Um, that also has contributed to me being able to put my energy into the appropriate places and start to rebuild strength and start to rebuild my health, and ultimately will land my goal weight once again. In the next picture, it's 2000. I chose myself as a model for my weight loss. I did forget to mention this during my video recording. I want to say it now. Finding a model of your ideal size and weight helps to train your mind and helping your body achieve desired success. Take me back to that 2000 time frame where I was that ideal size. And of course, because I'm a girl, I've always critiqued my size and my weight, and it's just something that I've always done. I've never not been confident in whatever size or weight that I am in. However, it's just something I critique. So of course, back then in 2000, I thought I was immensely huge. I'm tall, I'm 5'8", and so being bigger than most height wise and size wise, I'm always like, I'm not that small of a person. I am a big girl. In the next picture, it's 2005, and I am at my largest size that I have ever been. I never want to see myself like this again. Another helpful reminder is that the weight loss is peaks, valleys, and plateaus. These kind of changes do not happen overnight, so be patient with yourself. Fast forwarding to 2005, after having my kid, I really did put on a lot of weight. That was a significant amount of weight. That was probably the biggest I have ever been. And I did a lot of hard work for 11 years to reach my goal weight. Now, moving forward from 2016, life took some pretty significant um, turns, and circumstances led to me once again putting on weight. Kind of happened after four consecutive injuries. So 2019, no, I'm sorry, 2018, 17 range. I'm walking to work in Colorado. I hit black ice, land very, very hard, really do some significant inflammation and probably a little bit of muscular damage to myself. However, being a single mom, don't have time to stop. You've got to keep going. And so that's what I did. I did not take time to self-care. I just pushed through, continued walking to work, worked the entire day, and proceeded that motion all the way through. Shortly after that initial injury, I started to just try to rebuild my energy and my strength after the fall. Just how I am. I'm a very big push througher. And so I went ahead and started hitting my exercise routine pretty significantly hard. And I ended up doing a second injury to the first injury. I fell during one of my, uh, I'm not too sure I don't remember exactly what the exercise was. However, it's kind of like a burpee, but it's not a burpee. I was in a lower position and I was swinging my hip in and I fell again. And so I had to take a little bit of time, and I didn't, it's not that actually took that time. I just kind of slowed down on my exercising at that point because it was a lot of physical pain, real pain. Then we pack up and we have to move. So no time to rest there or actually give my body the actual time it needs to heal. Pack up, move, leave, go through some circumstances out here where I am continuously having to pack up from housing, leave housing, pack up from house. And it's just me. It's me and my daughter. It's not like I have a lot of people, nor do I have a significant amount of funds reserved in order to be able to hire people to help to move things. So I'm moving furniture, I'm walking up and down stairs, I'm continuously in motion, and again, still not giving my body the time it needs to heal. One of the apartments that we settled into, I started opening my business. Rico Menchica Insurance Solutions, and I was partnered with one of the field marketing operations. At the time, I was in a meeting and I was actually sitting on my balance ball, rocking back and forth, stretching out, giving my back some relief, and just kind of doing some lightweight stretching while I was in the meeting. And then all of a sudden, the ball pops and I fall again and I hit the tile. So still not fully recovered. And again, my back actually hits the ground pretty hard. Um, what does me in is the fourth fall where I am just not feeling very good. I don't know what happened. I'm in the bathroom, I'm getting ready to get into the shower, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this spike of nausea just hits me, and I'm super dizzy. I have no explanation for it, but the next thing I know is that I'm being woke up. I can feel myself wanting to yell for my daughter to bring me the a trash can so I can puke. I didn't have a trash can in the bathroom, but I felt like I was definitely going to throw up. And I was in severe abdominal pain at this point. I mean, it is just unbelievable. I was on my monthly, and it was just a high dose of abdominal pain that led to the nausea, that led to the eventually me just collapsing from the pain itself. And I could feel myself wanting to yell for her to get me a trash can, and the next thing I know, I am being woken up with her knocking on the door saying, "Mom, are you okay?" Because she heard that I definitely collapsed from the pain and nausea. It was a bad scenario. Now, given prior to all of that, those falls back in 2017, I also did come down with something onset and pretty acute, but it definitely trickled throughout those years where I started having significant just bouts of abdominal pain preceded with nausea. And it was pretty significant. The one time that I can remember in 2017, I did get sent to the hospital. I did go to the hospital because it just was not relieving itself. Since then, all of that has happened, and I ended up putting on all this weight. So in the clip that I'm showing you, I'm also showing you that I did end up putting on some weight. Now, the picture where I'm with my youngest daughter at her graduation, this is in June of 2024. I'm once again at my biggest. I'm not as big as I was in 2005, but I'm weight-wise and scale-wise, I am pretty damn close. Super frustrating as a woman. Believe me. Girls, if you're out there, I feel you. When you're trying to be at least at a decent weight where you feel good and you're confident and you're able to be like, yeah, this is me, I'm good. And things just keep piling up and they just get worse, and it's super frustrating. I get it. Um, the day that this picture is taken, I am losing a lot of blood. I the day. Um, Nobody knows because I'm not sharing this. This is the first time I'm sharing this with anybody. I was losing massive amount of fluid out of my body. I am super swollen, extremely swollen. Um, and you can see it in the picture. And this was prior to me receiving the hysterectomy. With my anemia showing how much iron I don't have, that contributed to a lot of what I was feeling and a lot of my lethargicness and fatigue that I was definitely experiencing at the time, including nausea, severe headaches, and I've had migraines for a lot of years, right? So I do feel that that was a contributing factor. Now, moving on to today, which is the video that I made, and I am going, and you can see I am progressively making those steps forward. I still don't have like a whole lot of support, but went through the surgery. My daughter helped me with what she could during those times, and we made some accommodations. It was just me. So, still not a whole lot of time to really rest, right? But progressively making the right moves to be able to say today, I'm progressively making those right and being back on track, making those right moves and being back on track to my ultimate weight loss, which is why I'm sharing the video. Again, going back to the shopping, you see, I show you Sam's. I bag the meat. And then at some point, a few weeks later, we go through the vegetables. Vegetables and fruits are something we go through a lot of rapidly. So that's probably one of the biggest staples that I'm always having to restore in my kitchen. Keep that in mind. When people are telling you about your weight loss and they're coaching you through it, fruits and vegetables are huge. Even if you're not a big fruit and vegetable eater, if you're serious about making those life changes for yourself, you need to include those. Make sure you're doing the variety. So I'm always having to do that. Now, the other thing that helps me is I don't do a lot of pre-boxed or pre-processed foods. My daughter has a significant amount of food allergies, and so I have to cook pretty much like June Cleaver into 2025, which isn't a bad thing. It is a little bit more costly because the other food is a little bit cheaper and I have to buy genuine ingredients to make food. That's the whole point of that conversation and why I show the videos, because you purchase the ingredients and then you turn around and you make those ingredients into actual food. I don't do a lot of the pre-buy, pre-made, semi-packaged stuff and then turn that into what people would say this is your food, right? Not anything bad or knocking against those who do it. However, you do need to be aware that most of those do have very high content of sodium and or sugars with their preservers, and that being the case, that can contribute to excess water. It can extravate extra water retention. And also, if you're not somebody who does a lot of physical activity, it will also contribute to that cell buildup of extra fat storage. And so that is definitely not good when it comes to you trying to reach any kind of a goal weight or ideal size for you. The other contributor to my success is definitely I was reconnected to somebody from my past, and his name is Marshall Silver. I used to watch him as a kid on infomercials, on his talk shows that he would be a guest on, all of these things. And so I remember him as a kid growing up. I learned once when I got reconnected and put back into that through some business networking that he actually landed a show out in Vegas. I didn't even know that. I was unaware. Excuse me. I learned he got the show out there, and so that's where he went. And it's kind of like out of sight, out of mind, even though he was somebody that I totally viewed as a role model, and found his coaching and his teaching and his mentorship appealing to my situation and me wanting to achieve things in life. Um, Out of sight, out of mind. He was out of sight because he was doing the private show. And I, of course, grew up and did my living and livelihood and took care of my kids and I was a woman of family, so I took care of the person I was in a relationship with and did all those responsible things that I was, you're supposed to do as an adult. However, I come out here to where we are now in San Diego and I see, or I get reintroduced through business networking for my business. And I come across during that reintegration a training of his that I have always questioned and believed that it should be true. If there are females out there who are able to manipulate their bodies into doing things such as thinking that they're pregnant or acting this way or able to adjust their mentality and their body reacts that whatever their mental being is that it reflects that. So you hear and of the stories of women who lactate because they want to be pregnant and they are trying to convince their man or boyfriend, whoever it may be, that they are trying to entrap into believing that they are pregnant, that they go through this mental psychological transformation where their body begins to put on the weight similar to a pregnancy. They start to lactate. Things just kind of fall into motion based off of their psychology. Seen it time and time again. You don't believe me? Go look at Maury. He's had some of those people on episodes. I believe even Dr. Phil has. Anyways, I always argued if they're able to manipulate their psychology and their psychological neuros into believing that factor of their body, I should be able to manipulate my psychology and my neuros into believing that I am my ideal size, right? And so when I think little, I should be little. And I've practiced it throughout my life, on top of everything else. Like I said, I do supportive exercise. I do stretching regularly. I do all kinds of various activities to keep me going. But he does teach a psychological duplication where you're able to reverse the rewiring of your relationship with food. So it is true. And so since that reintegration back in 2021, I want to say, is when I finally got to actually see him in person live. When I came across his permanently slender and attractive training, which has been key because it is something I revisit and I constantly tell myself, because it affirmed my belief that if your mind is that powerful, then you should be able to contribute it the other direction where you're able to think little and actually be that ideal size and weight that you want to achieve for yourself. And so I definitely incorporate that. I am on my way to getting my ultimate ideal size and ultimate goal weight. So do I say it works? It definitely has had an impact on me and my practices and what my ultimate goals are. Again, I want to say I am not there yet. I am still in motion. I still have several inches I want to take off and several more pounds to be reduced down to my size. After all of this, I am not on Ozempic. I am not taking any magical weight loss insulin stabilizers. I don't do Slim Fast. I'm trying to think of anything. Weight Watchers. I don't do any of those other assistives out there. My weight reduction is a natural, slow process, and it works for me. So why is that important? Because not everybody is interested in the natural weight loss process. I'm doing it this way because I know from my knowledge that if you do it naturally and you do it slow and progressive, it's going to sustain. Because I already did the hard work and landed my goal weight in 2016, my body and my muscle mass is remembering that time. And so it's working through that phase on getting back to that time where we reached that goal and I was good. And I maintained it up until the last fall. And I mean actual where my body hit the ground. And I think that was 2021, if my memory serves me right. It was just before I went to go see Marshall in person. Um, when I go to see him in person, I'm actually recovering from I'm at the beginning phase of recovering from another bodily, mishap where my knees, as I went running trying to get this weight and the swelling down from the initial falls, and my knees started acting up and they become super inflamed. Now, retroactively thinking back, I can say, oh yeah, it definitely has something to do with my anemia. It has something to do with me overworking my body, and it definitely has something to do with the fact that my body just isn't able to replenish the nutrients it needs at the time because I'm losing a lot of blood. My body is trying to just stay in a survival mode. So all of that contributing brings down my energy and increases lethargic and fatigue and just an overwhelming sense of I'm just overly exhausted because my body is continuously trying to repair and heal, and I am having to remain in some kind of physical motion. Stay focused, stay positive. I'm sure whoever this has come across on your algorithm and you've listened this far, you've watched and you've gathered up all your information, that it's going to help you. Have a good rest of your day.